Run down to presentation, recognizing Planning and Zoning Commissioner Nancy Bledek for her service to the Planning and Zoning Commission. I think Brock is not, oh, there he is. Come on down, Brock.
Mayor, City Council, I wanted to take this time to recognize one of our recently departing members from the Planning and Zoning Commission. As you all know, and those who have come to the Planning and Zoning Commission meetings, I always say that the Planning and Zoning is like JV City Council. It's a lot of time, a lot of long meetings, a lot of passionate people, and it takes a lot of work, especially during these last 2 years. Since I've been here, I've seen tremendous growth. I know there was tremendous growth before that. Nancy's been with me, she's worked with Mike. 16 years is a long time, and she's...
It's longer than that.
It is. And Nancy's a force of nature.
Appointed me.
So we wanted to just express our appreciation for Nancy and everything she's done. And she will be missed terribly. I know everyone on the commission, both current and past, very much appreciate her and Nancy. So we just wanted to give you this, a small memento of your service to the city and for the community. And I know that you're going to continue to serve, but know that we love and appreciate you, and there's not going to be another Nancy. And
That's a good thing.
irreplaceable. But thank you for your service, and if you can come take this and we can take a picture, we just want to say thank you, Brock.
I would actually have you kick this chair out of the way.
Oh, I see.
The chair, there's no award with the chair like that. It doesn't really. There we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thanks, Nancy.
Yeah. Nancy,
And an honor.
thank you so much. Being the voice for the people that live in the county, giving them a voice, and doing it for as long as you've done it, and doing it with passion. You everything you do, you do the homework. You really delve into the hows and the whys, and to me, I appreciate you doing that for the city of Mountain Home and Elmore County. It's literally, it takes a team effort, and you are the woman in the arena when it comes to having to sit on that planning and zoning, and like I said, take some of the beatings and take some of the accolades and all that. But I want you to know, on behalf of me, thank you so much for everything you've done.
Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate it. And it has been an honor.
Thank you.
And it's been wonderful watching the city grow. So.
Thanks, Nancy. Thank you. All right, we'll go down to department comments. We'll go with Brock real quick.
Well, things are going well. We're seeing some projects. Thunderbolt Landing is preparing their application for their final plat. So we're hopefully going to see that coming. Once that's approved, though, it will be able to pull building permits. Other than that, all the projects that have been passed, they're all working on their engineering. There's not enough engineers, not enough surveyors. Everything's been slightly delayed. Commercially, we have a lot of cool projects coming to fruition. Taco Bell should be done by late summer. And a little birdie told me that Ace Hardware is aiming for an August 15th date to open, if everything aligns. So we're going to pay attention to that, and please let me know if there's any other questions I can answer for you.
Copy.
Thanks, Brooke.
Chief?
Mayor, Council, just real briefly, the 4th of July is now behind us. I'd like to say thank you to all the many people and departments that came together to make that happen. A ton of work, and it wouldn't be possible without everybody's effort towards it. Jake was extremely helpful for us this year, and turned a blind eye. We didn't burn as much cheatgrass off the course as he wanted to keep it, so golfers aren't too happy with him, I think. But anyways, we've been relatively busy with, we're in our brush type fire season and so forth, so we're busy that way. And we've got some great training coming up this month from some of the firefighters that went to the symposium. The fire nuggets, they're going to come back, and they're going to break up into two different groups and bring back to the department some of the training that they had. So good to get them involved as well.
as a golfer, I was a little disappointed you didn't take more. I got more of my socks when I hit it out there. It hurts.
Mayor?
Council.
Chief, I saw that we've implemented a burn ban. Did the county follow suit? Do you know?
Yes, I saw that, I was emailed a copy of an ordinance, and it's the same date as on that.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah.
Copy that. Chief?
Same, kind of same as last week. We've got the sweepers running in the mornings and stuff. We've also got paint crews who've been getting around, trying to stay ahead of everybody. We have a bunch of patchwork going on every day, and right now we just started on the Jackson project, which is getting some of the curves removed and stuff like that and getting them replaced. So we'll be seeing a little busy down there with the parties down by Maverick. Also, we're going to try to install another storm drain inlet and outlet right there, just north and south of that intersection where it kind of floods. Right now, there's an existing drain in the middle of the driveway going into the school parking lot, which we have to pull and open up when there's people going in there and parking and stuff. So we're going to try to put another outlet pipe going across right there to take care of some of that problem. We should also, you'll see, we're trying to coordinate 2 or 3 things happening at the same time, so you'll see that intersection closed down a few times for the storm drain pipe being installed, and we're going to try to coordinate removing a kind of a sinkhole that's going on closer to the Maverick side. It's been there for about a year. It's looks like it's stopped, and they cambered everything and looked at everything, and nobody can find anything that's really wrong. So we're going to go in, probably open it up, compact it down, and see if that stops it, and then patch back.
So you're gonna patch it, even though we're gonna do that whole street?
Yeah, you gotta grind out the low spots basically, fill it back in properly, and then when they come in, they mill the top of it off, so it's flat. Otherwise, you have like a sinkhole kind of depression that'll go right back in there if you don't get rid of it.
Copy that. And then 8th Street
8th Street.
by the school? That whole, is it 8th Street? By the Richard McKenna School? Not Richard McKenna, yeah.
Oh, East State's north.
Yeah,
We just need to get some bids, or just get some quotes on that.
Yeah,
So,
a lot of the initial stuff is pretty much what you saw with the water project. A lot of the stuff is lower in prices, so.
Okay.
So we've got to wait until the bid comes back to actually see what it is, but yeah.
If we have to put it out or not.
Could see some substantial growth in price.
Even with asphalt because of gas?
Pardon?
Even with asphalt?
Yeah, it's all hooked to oil, construction
Right.
activities and stuff like that. So it's about, in my mind, about a 45 to 50% growth. Everything's jumping,
just a little.
just a little. I've never seen anything like it.
Okay. Awesome, thanks Chief. LT?
One thing new since last meeting is Patriot Thunder on Sunday, very well attended ride, up to 1,000 motorcycle riders. No incidents within the city. There was one minor crash out on the 84 that ISP took care of, very minor injuries with that one. Otherwise, well attended, well received by the community spread.
Fantastic. Can't think of her name. Jessica, sorry. I had a senior moment.
Bianca and Jessica helped out with Parks and Rec's Sunday Splash and Dash event last Saturday. We also want to thank Parks and Rec for helping us out with our summer reading program, family events. We had our family water run on June 30th. We had 97 attend that. And then Cecil the Magician performed last Friday, and 57 people attended that. Today is the last day for our summer reading program. We will have a live drawing for our final winners on Wednesday at 2:30. And we also will draw our parent raffle prizes for that. Big thanks to all our sponsors for their support in the summer reading program. They help make this program possible. Tuesday we have bilingual storytime club in the morning, and then that evening we have adult craft night. We'll be doing flower pounding. On Wednesdays and Fridays we always have music and movement in the mornings. On Wednesday evening we'll have our library book club. On Thursday, we'll have computer classes, specifically learning digital marketing from 5 to 7. Knitting group every Friday, chess club every Saturday. Central Health District will be here this Saturday from 1 to 5 doing free health screenings. They'll provide COVID-19 vaccinations or boosters and will also be available at no cost on a first come, first served basis. Call ahead and the first 40 people will receive a $50 gift card. Summer STEM grant, Bianca has been doing those outreach activities over at the Active Learning Center. She's done 3 so far, creating slime, exploring air science, and aluminum foil boats. She'll also be doing bristle bots, storytime science with creating instant snow and geyser Diet Coke Mentos experiments. And then next week, on Tuesday from 1 to 5, we'll have an escape room for tweens and teens. Thursday, we'll have our Friends of the Library meeting at 10:30, and then later that night, we'll have our Teens After Hours Nerf battle from 7 to 9, and then next Saturday, we'll have Idaho Library Association Book of the Year author Dana Quimby. She is an Idaho author who actually lives here in Elmore County. She's published multiple books, and almost all of them are based here in Idaho.
Wow. Tell your library board I appreciate them, and you and your team. You guys continue to kill it. Rich.
Mayor Council, like follow that. I know it. I'm gonna take one big breath and go. So Gene, yeah. So with the 8th Street, that's kind of today. You have a bid to go out to bid for Jackson. So when we had them, quote that last year, it was under the $200,000 threshold. We kind of wanted to make sure when we got a quote again this year, it was a lot higher. So that's why we needed to go out for the bid wise. Kind of going to see the same thing about 8th Street, see where we are with that. Wells are going good. Idaho Power called last week, and since it's supposed to be a hot week this week, we're probably going to do some flex things on our wells. So they asked us to shut down some of our wells to conserve power, to make sure that the power grid's good. So we get a credit for that type of stuff. So that's a good deal for everybody. Putting a lot of water out the farm. We got the well going again. So they had it going plus our regular effluent going out. It's pretty busy out there. So things are going good. So, I think they were at 300 feet today on the well. They're hoping to hit somewhere after 400 feet tomorrow, and then it's going pretty good so far. They're expecting to hit some, they haven't hit really big water yet, so they're expecting a lot of all the wells around that area, about 400 feet, 450 is where they'll expect to hit some sort of water tomorrow. So.
Okay. And when they do the effluent, they don't put that with that pump. They don't do the deep pump, and then how's it?
So out at the lagoon, so there's three pivots, and so they can run all 3 pivots on on our effluent, but it depends how much water they want to put out there. So a lot of times they supplement that with the deep well, and if they're going to run hand lines and there's just not enough pressure to do that, so that's how they supplement that out. So, and then it's been down for about a month. They haven't been using it. So,
right. And then when we get that credit from Idaho Power, is it substantial? Is it?
I want to say it's a couple. It's in the thousands, so
okay.
Yeah. It's not just a couple $100, yeah.
Right. Tiff.
Mayor, Council, I sent you guys an email regarding the flea market this afternoon. Bev Lucia and the farmers market crew, they're willing to take on the flea market side of stuff. So they kind of sat down and met together as their little group and decided that they could tackle it, which I think they had support by you guys when they came to you before. They do have the park reservation reserved out through October 8th, so I kind of addressed everything in the email I sent you guys. I sent several the codes pertaining to park reservations, the special event application, and then what is in there as the railroad park, and a couple of the ordinances from '87 when they drafted those ordinances. So they just had a couple requests if we could help with that transition and kind of draft a letter that they can pass out saying yes, they can in fact control that because they have exclusive right of railroad park due to their reservation, so they can tell you whether you can sell your home goods or not. They do want to charge a small fee, which they can. That's their deal. And then there might be a little bit of a translation that they might want to borrow one of the rec staff members to help translate as they transition through. So, food for thought. You can reply to the email, but I thought I would just let you guys all know. Check your inbox.
I have, Jeff, would you send that to my private email?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Councilman Brennan, sorry.
I got it. I haven't read it yet. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Was I under the impression, or the wrong impression, that the farmers market, that they're at least only dedicated a portion of the park, like from, like where the, I don't know, the one block? I didn't think it said the entire, like, 3-block section or whatever. Am I wrong?
No, Councilman Brennan, they don't have a lease, they have a park reservation and a special event permit, and the entirety of Railroad Park is what we reserve out, all 3 sections, that's its entirety. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Ms. Zabransky.
Mayor and council, thank you for attending the budget work sessions. The department heads put a lot of work into that, and they appreciate your guys' feedback and working with them. So I thought it was the last 2 meetings, I thought they went really well. So we're moving forward, and we'll get you some final numbers in as soon as we can.
Mayor?
Go ahead, Councilman.
Paula, do we have a final one before we actually have it in an open meeting or anything?
No.
I was just curious if council might want that. I might want that.
I
But
can give you the worksheets when, I usually give you
Okay.
all of the Cassell worksheets. I give that to you before
okay. Cool.
we do that meeting, so you can see what those numbers are. But we generally don't have another work session. I mean, we can if you want to, but probably within the next couple weeks, as soon as I get my other information from the other source that I need, then I can get that back to you guys.
Cool.
So.
Thanks.
Ms. Hiddleston, you want to grab her real quick? I always forget, but I put her down. I wrote her name down this time. Sorry, Betsy. I didn't want to forget you this time.
Talked about this, see, now you're ambushing me, and I wasn't prepared for this moment. See, now I have to think about my agenda and what I've got going on. Well, we did have a snafu with the website today. We had a certificate expires, so this morning there was some issues with citizens getting on the website, but Ryzen's fixed that, and it's been live and good since, I think, 1 or 2. We are working with the Thomasons right now to do a groundbreaking with Brista. You guys should be getting an invite for that probably tomorrow morning. It'll be next Tuesday at 10 a.m. And then, I feel like I'm forgetting something.
We've been working on our economic development strategic plan,
Yep, we're working on updating that right now.
and BVEP is going to come and do an economic development presentation and kind of see where we're at and probably give some best practices of what we can do to get the city to the next level.
Yeah, I think we noticed in the transition from economic development to community development, there was some lost thoughts of how that transition works, what does it look like now? And that's when we reached out to the Boise Valley Economic Partnerships. They've seen that transition through a few cities, so they'll come down to us and present to us on what we should be doing.
Magazine? Brock and I.
And then the Business View magazine, there we go. We did interview, Brock and the mayor interviewed with Business View magazine last week. It's a national magazine that they're doing a six-town series on the best in Idaho. Because Idaho is a growing state, they were excited to kind of look at communities throughout the state, and we won kind of, I don't want to call it a bid because we don't pay anything, it's a free article. But they interviewed them last Thursday, so we'll get a draft from that, and it should be published by the end of August, early September. And it'll essentially just be like a mini magazine on Mountain Home, things to do around the area, what's up and coming, great things about us. So that'll be really awesome, and we get to proof it, edit it, have full say in it, so it'll be a good piece. Okay.
Okay.
And next time I'm gonna have stuff written down.
So sorry.
Don't forget next time.
Yeah, don't forget, yeah.
Right?
No, you're gonna come out and go,
Like, I was prepared before, and then I put the stuff away. No, it's okay.
copy that.
Slowly.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes.
Question for Betsy.
Yes, sir.
Is there any feedback from the WOW 104.3 event, or not the event, but
so,
their
I mean-
advertisement for the city?
As far as the public, I haven't heard anything good, bad, or any of the sort. I think we were very impressed with them. I mean, they came and set the equipment up. They were here like an hour early. So they set up the equipment. We did talk with them about next year if we decide to move forward, some lessons learned. We know we want more speakers out there. We want to do a playlist with them, things like that.
Do it live.
So yeah, and do it
Like on
live
the
because the
air. Yeah.
speeches weren't able to go live. So everything else was all the same, but yeah, when it was time to do the speeches, they didn't put us live.
Oh.
So,
Lesson learned.
lesson learned, yeah. And yeah, they were kind of, with the 2-week lead time, it was hard for them to put together some of that stuff, but they said if I reach out next year, like May-ish, plenty of time to coordinate, get fully on the air for the whole shebang, and not just music.
Perfect.
So, yeah. Any other questions? I forgot you guys get that opportunity to ask us stuff. Awesome. Okay, well, you know where to find me.
Council, Tiff, myself, Miguel, Rich, not all together at one time, but we've all been downtown, and we're thinking about bollards on some of the corners of our ADA ped ramps. They're just getting chewed up. And so we're thinking, ITD has they have to be breakaway bollards or whatnot, so we sent out a wish list, kind of what we'd like to see. Caleb sent something back today, like, is it something like this? You know, we want to make it still look aesthetically pleasing, make it look good, so more to follow on that one. Arts Council, they knocked it out of the park on Friday. They had the Mystics play, and that amphitheater, Fine Arts Pavilion was awesome. And then the neat thing about that Fine Arts Pavilion, it fits the movies in the park perfectly. There's enough electricity, the blow-up thing goes perfectly in there. It was just awesome. The only thing that lesson learned on the Fine Arts Pavilion is maybe do a sunshade on the west side that retracts down and that can go back up. But the Fine Arts Pavilion was packed with all those, the Mystics killed it. They did a great job. Arts Council did a great job. 4th of July, everybody thought the show was outstanding that I sat with, or that was down on hole 7. So you tell your boys they killed it. They crushed it. They did good work. And the neat thing is take the commander and the chief up there, and they get to see how many man hours it takes. They get to go look at what it takes to put that show on. So tell Brian and Alan Roberts, and then obviously the whole team, they knocked it out of the park.
I'll do that, thank you.
I know I'm forgetting something. All right, Councilman, anything? Councilman?
I've got a question on, a couple of questions actually. I was hoping that Jay could be here, because I've had a couple people get a hold of me and ask me why the sprinklers came on before the finale. He said this is the second year that it's happened.
Where at?
Where they were sitting. They said they hit different holes as it went around, and it's like, they go, we were trying to get some old people out of there and we couldn't get moving, and
Fire prevention.
and then ITD, I noticed, did striping today. Is there any way we can talk to them, or we can do it ourselves at where we end the 2-lane at 5th at American, at 2nd and I think it's 5th at Albertsons? We can get that line to go across that intersection rather than a free-for-all when they hit that section. What we did once, somebody went out there and just kind of painted a line in. Well, they didn't bother putting that in to where they knew, here, this lane, you gotta stay in this one. You can't cut this guy off.
The outside lane,
Yes.
the north, or the east lane stays just in the one.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. To where if we can do it, if they won't do it, or if they'll let us do it.
We can probably put a skip line in
I
there.
can stick some sticky tabs down there too.
Yeah, it's just something to where somebody in that far lane ain't cutting somebody off in the left lane.
Yeah, it was there before.
I
It
know
just
what we're talking
wore
about,
out, I
yeah.
think.
Yeah, it was there. Well, somebody had just taken a paint can and just put some lines in there, but
The intersections don't have.
I know, normally intersections don't have it, but at that,
That makes sense.
it's a traffic hazard there.
They car
Liz.
guys off, so they just put little lines in there to teach everybody that turns a little bit to the right. But I can put temporary, those tabs in real easy.
If we can do
I
something.
can do it, I can have it done tomorrow morning, so, that's right, note.
Thank you. That's all I got, Mayor.
Can we have ITD do that for liability?
I can talk to him, yeah. I
Okay.
definitely like to go down there with him and
Perfect.
give him the.
Okay. Council got anything?
There.
Okay. Councilman Stokes?
There's the art, craft, and wine stroll on Thursday. What else? We have a concert on Friday. There's the Elmore County Fair this entire week in Glens Ferry with rodeo on Friday and Saturday. So try and support our entire community.
Speaking of bollards, has there been any progress on getting something added to the Second Street to block off, like, whether we're drilling them into the streets or whatever?
We'll probably do that all at the same time.
Yeah.
Same time as the other ones he's talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
If they allow us to do them.
Those we can. We could do the ones on Second, so.
Yeah, it's our street.
Okay. And then my last comment was, I guess we were supposed to get some feedback on some budget cuts. You guys were gonna meet on Friday, talk to us.
We didn't meet. What happened on Friday?
Oh, we had Shirley's retirement party, and then we had several department heads out for the week.
So we'll meet tomorrow and talk about what were the things that do you have those things that Brendan wanted to talk about written down or anything?
No, I just wanted to cut to find pool money.
Yeah, you mentioned you look at all the budgets, the department heads would get together and see
And then
Where-
the donation line. Sorry to
And
interrupt.
add the donation.
where we can
Okay.
come up with any extra money for the increased costs.
Okay. Tomorrow we will have a ELT meeting in the morning, and then we'll
Mr.
call you.
I think when we get our numbers from
County.
the county, that's gonna give us our new construction roll. We don't have that yet. So that's gonna be additional. We usually put that into streets. And then we're gonna be able to better gauge the levy number. And this is the final bill run for the cash carryover. So that all gets recalculated. And in July, we get the money from the state. So we're gonna know really, by the end of July, we're gonna know really where we stand on everything. So I don't know, if you had a meeting tomorrow, I don't really know. We're not gonna know anything until we get all that.
Well, the problem is you're asking us to, I think, vote, or you're gonna publish the final thing before we have the
In
opportunity
August.
to see those numbers.
You'll see them at the end of July, and then I have to publish August 8th.
Okay.
So I'll have everything to the paper by August 3rd. So kind of like that last week of July, we should have everything finalized and you guys can go to look at it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Before we do anything.
yeah. I don't think we're just kind of be spinning our wheels without those numbers.
Right.
I think you
But we know
probably, I think you'll probably, it's probably gonna work out, hopefully. I don't know that we're gonna get enough, but it's gonna be close.
Okay.
Does that help at all? I don't know, big meeting tomorrow's really gonna, till we get
We
those
could sit down
numbers.
and see what, if they had to, let's say if they had to do something, and then we can throw that to you.
Appreciate that.
Copy?
There,
Yes, sir. Here we go.
Since the whole council wasn't privy to that conversation about the donation line, can you tell them about that real quick? Or ask them? Or do you want me to?
Sure. So after our budget meeting, work session last Thursday, Councilman Brennan, we kind of stayed and chatted as a group and kind of bounced ideas. And one of the ideas that we came across was doing a donation line in the rec budget. That would be a pass-through line. So it'd be donation in, donation out, specific to the pool. So if, say, a big donor came or a $50 donor came, they would land in that spot.
And it doesn't affect the levy at all.
No.
You guys okay with that?
I'm fine with that, yep.
Yeah, it got added, so.
And Tiffany's also working on the grant with the state.
The Land and Water Conservation
Yeah.
Grant.
Going back to them and saying, hey, we're this much short. So there's a lot of pieces in play that we'll have in the budget, and then we'll try and get those numbers to you guys when we get something firmer. Well, it's so like not. It's like, I can't tell you until I got the numbers.
Okay, run down to conflict of interest declaration. Has any council member received information pertaining to or otherwise had any contact with any person regarding any items on this city council agenda? If so, please set forth the nature of the contact. Hearing none, we'll go down to consent agenda. Council members, is there anything you want to pull, talk about?
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Brennan?
I'd like to talk about item E really quick.
Okay.
That is the, let me pull that paperwork up. Gene, can I, talk to you about this? Yeah, that's fine. I don't know if this is, if I'm misinterpreting it or not, but the language of the bid that you put out strictly says East Jackson Street from North 2nd East to South 10th East. But then the photo for the bid project, it looks like it includes a little bit of South 10th East as well. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Can we reflect that on your bid language, advertisement for bid?
They would get this in it, so they see this. So that's, but did you put the
I have
paper?
not yet, no.
So yeah, we could probably do that, yeah.
And just,
And
say,
just a little bit farther, I mean, it is in,
I guess that wouldn't be South 10th, that's still North 10th from American Legion to East Jackson.
Right, that first block, yeah.
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 If you just put that in on the language of the advertisement for the bid.
Okay.
That's all I had.
And do.
Council, any further questions?
Mayor,
Councilman McCain?
I'll make a recommendation to approve the consent agenda as printed.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilwoman Garvey?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilman McCain?
Aye.
Councilman Stokes?
Aye.
All right. Run down to old business. Action item legislative continued from May 9th, 2022 and June 27th, 2022. Deliberation decision on suggested definitions for multifamily developments. Council members, what do you guys want to do?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Stokes?
can we have Mr. Cherry give us a synopsis of this, including the drawings?
Yes. So the goal with the multifamily definition is to ensure clarity, so we never have to look at a potential project and be caught in the muck and contact legal and ask them what they think, and then call Mike McCain and ask him what he thinks. And I think we have a pretty polished definition. There's two components. There's the text, and then we have some illustrative examples of what we are looking at. The portions of text are important in that it says that this is both what multifamily is and what multifamily isn't, which is important. And then we have some illustrations of further what multifamily is from, we have a apartment, we have row homes, we have another apartment building where we potentially have condos. I believe it's tighter than what it was. We tried to remove some filler language as well. I knew it was sort of a mouthful. I ran it by Rich as well. I believe he's satisfied with it. And any recommendations and or comments that you have in order to make it better, we are certainly more open to.
Brock, did
More better.
oh, no, never mind. I see it, never mind.
Yeah.
Councilman Brennan?
Brock, when you say what you've presented to us tells us what multifamily definition is and is not.
Mm-hmm.
The is not part, is that strictly by process of elimination? Because I
Yes.
don't see anything that says it's not this. Just if it
So-
isn't this, then it's not.
Yeah,
Is that
so,
If it doesn't fill into these, it's not, yeah, that's what it's looking at.
correct. So we have, this definition does not include duplexes.
All by itself a duplex. What,
Duplex.
triplex, fourplex.
Fourplexes, all of them, duplex, triplex and fourplexes, so anything beyond four is where, that is what it should have been, did I miss that?
Yeah, right now I have, it does not include duplexes, but we can change it to be fourplex and above.
Yeah, it's fourplex, yeah, I think it was fourplex and above when we
That's
talked.
what Rich and I discussed, was anything above a
But I
fourplex.
must have, I missed that one.
Yeah.
Nope, you're
So
fine.
do we need to put
So
that
we
in the
need to add
language?
tri and fours as not being multifamily.
So, with interlineation, we can add, this definition does not include duplexes, triplexes, or fourplexes
Correct.
on a single lot.
Yes.
On a single lot, correct. Because the mayor council, we had that, because that was kind of part of in the EDU table, that, because anything really starts at 4, and, you know, any dwelling, you know, types of units that come in starts at 4, and then after that, then they start getting cut down by 0.3 or 0.5.
Mayor,
Copy that.
City Council, just so we're completely sure of what's happening. So what would happen is, let's say, for example, we have an infill project and they build a fourplex. The impact fee that they would pay would be similar to that of a single-family home for each dwelling unit. That is our understanding, correct? I'm not saying it's wrong or right. I'm just making sure that that's the interpretation
That is my
that this body is
understanding.
seeking. That's great. Thank you.
Council members, what do you guys want to do with Brock's interlineation?
I like the interlineation comments. When would you ever have a duplex, triplex, fourplex on multiple lots though?
On multiple lots. So
That's when they're
that
sold, that's when they're sold individually, right?
so
You could have a pinwheel
you
or a fourplex that could be, each person could have their own spot in it, and it could be owned each differently. So that's where it comes, your water meters and different things. So this, you know, what really comes into effect when you're bigger than that is that it has to be on the same lot. And so otherwise, it's a single family. So if you have a fiveplex that is on, that can be sold individually, it's not a multifamily.
Is that always the case? If it's an individual sold dwelling unit, it's never going to be considered a multifamily, right?
That's
Okay.
correct.
I'm good with that.
What do you want to do, council members?
Mayor?
Councilman Stokes.
I'll make a motion to approve the suggested definitions for multifamily developments, adding through interlineation Brock's comments, including triplexes and fourplexes
on a single lot.
on a single lot.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion?
Mayor, I did have one question.
Yep.
Has our attorney had the opportunity to review this definition and approve of it?
I was about to bring that up. I don't know if they have or have not.
Paul, have you had the
No.
opportunity to look at it?
No, I haven't.
Paul
That's
has. I think we have spoken to Jeff about it,
Okay.
but with Paul being out for COVID, I don't know if he's been
I
able
think
to
I sent,
review.
I know I sent him the original one way back.
I reviewed the original way back when our Rick sent it.
Can we just approve it pending legal approval?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, can I amend my motion to approve, or throw in legal approval from the City of Mountain Home?
I'll amend my second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Stokes?
Aye.
Councilman Kane?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilman Garvey? Sorry, Council.
Garvey votes aye.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Sorry.
That's all right.
So we'll run down to new business. Legal, we're gonna pull item 5, right?
No, when you get to it, he'll just talk about it.
I thought you
Yeah, that's
said
fine.
move it.
No, just go down the list. So when
All right.
5 is him.
Never mind, we'll go to number 1. There were no items removed for the consent agenda, so we'll run down to item 2, deliberation decision on Planning and Zoning's Commission recommendation and findings of facts for a conditional use permit for an off-premise sign located at 404 North Main Street, requested by Ron Cox. Council, what do you guys want to do? Ladies and gentlemen, what do you guys want to do? Council members, sorry, I'm a little rusty.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Brennan.
I would just like to request one additional condition on this, which would, it probably sounds repetitive, but I have a reason for this. Let me see where the conditions are at on my paperwork here. Right on the first page there. I'm reading the right one. Anyways, my recommended condition would be to put a condition that the signs follow all state laws on advertising as well. I know the state always preempts the city, but it would, in my mind, it would give the city enforcement authority over it when it's in our conditional use permit. And that would be like restricting advertising liquor and stuff like that, as the state law doesn't allow for outside, and various other issues.
Okay. Council members?
Well, I'm really not in favor of off-premise signs.
Don't we have them all over the city, Brock?
We have some that was here prior to, excuse me, Mayor.
Oh, you're good, go ahead.
We have some that was prior to me being here, that there was some around that were basically grandfathered in because they were there, other than the big 100-foot by 50-foot billboards. Council approved one of them once.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
City Council. This situation was brought to light because of a complaint. Because someone saw an off-premise sign where we had the opportunity to converse with Mr. Cox. He was very forthright, very willing to go through the process. There's no doubt in my mind that we probably do have some throughout the city. However, after speaking to Paul somewhat about our sign regulation, there have been national Supreme Court changes on how we need to interpret signage. Our ordinance is currently dated. We do know that it needs to be updated, and that with certain updates, our off-premise sign rules may or may not be applicable. In this situation, however, we do have what we have. We have the ordinance that we have, and fortunately we have an applicant who's willing to follow the process. So my short answer would be yes, we certainly do, and if anything is brought to light, we will go by those on a case-by-case basis and tell them of the processes that they need to follow, just because I believe we have more situations than not. And we still want to ensure that businesses can adequately advertise for their business as well.
If they're Mayor,
Councilman Brennan, sorry.
if they're advertising for their business, it would be an on-premise sign, right?
Per our definitions, correct. So the definition of an off-premise sign is when goods or services are being advertised which are not provided specifically at that property.
Mayor.
Councilman McCain?
You say you talked to Paul about it?
Somewhat. We've talked about it before. It's on our laundry list of things that need to be updated.
Okay, and I guess I could just ask Paul. Paul, what did you tell him about the industry basically changing?
You mean with the regulation of signs?
Yes, sir.
That our sign ordinance is outdated.
Oh, I think he just told me that.
So anytime you get into something other than time, place, manner regulations, you are automatically on a strict scrutiny analysis. That was legalese. I'm sorry, that was too much. But basically, you're allowed to regulate the time of day, or time of year that signs are there. The place, like there's off-street signs, there's on-premises signs, residential signs, commercial signs, and then there's manner. It could be this size of a sign, it can't be any larger than this. It can't be bright pink. It can't be whatever. All those things. But once you start getting into the message. And breaking down like this type of message is fine, this one isn't, other than riotous language and things of that nature, that's when you start running afoul. And the case law, it's a few years old now, but the case law that's come out recently has gotten increasingly more strict at interpreting municipal ordinances.
Well, we're not changing the content of the sign, it's the off-premise location of the sign, though.
Correct. Well, in this instance, but we were talking more generally Brock and I about our sign ordinance and what different things need to be perhaps amended, and that was the speech I gave, basically.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, council members, what do you guys want to do?
Mayor?
Councilman Brennan?
In clarifying what Paul is saying and what Councilman McCain is saying, we're strictly talking about off premises, and that's the time, location. So, Paul, do we have a right to restrict this particular instance rather than, we're not talking about our whole ordinance amendments right now, but specifically the location of this application right before us today.
And which item number is this? Is this the drive-through, or is this the?
No, it's number 2.
Off-premise sign.
Oh, that one. Okay.
It says ITD has they can say what he can have on his own building.
So ITD does have a sign permitting process, and I believe it's mainly just them limiting potential dangers within ITD right away.
That's, Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilman.
Has he talked to ITD yet?
I
Because
believe-
that is an ITD corridor now that you mention that.
Yes, the applicant has, and this is a process he needs to go forward before he can complete his ITD application, as far as the order of operations.
Okay, because normally we've been done it in the past that until ITD has approved their location, we haven't, because it's on their corridor, they're first up to bat. But I guess I have no problem with it as long as ITD has approved their portion of it. I guess I'd have to say then, since things are changing in this world.
I don't have a problem with it. It's not regulating the message at all.
Okay, Mayor?
Councilman McCain?
I'll make a recommendation, excuse me, let me get to where we're at here. Turn my thing here, sorry. I'll make a recommendation to approve the off-premise sign at 404 Main Street for Ron Cox, as long as ITD has also given their consent to this sign.
And then,
Second.
Oh, pardon me.
okay, hang on a second. It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Brennan?
In addition to my request for the additional condition, based on this conversation, I had thought about maybe a condition based upon, like, it's only valid, how do I word this? Our condition, our approval could be taken away if our ordinance revamp finds it to be non-conforming to the downtown standards or whatever. Does that make sense? It's like it's a temporary thing if our future ordinance revamp says this is not what the city of Mount Home wants.
Mr. Mayor?
I'd have to talk to Mayor.
Councilman?
I think Paul would have to answer that question once we approve a conditional use permit. I don't know if we can take it away if our ordinance is changed. They would just be grandfathered in to where that'd be Paul's question.
Correct.
Okay. So we couldn't take it away from them.
Okay.
Are you interested in the state, the condition for following state law in your ordinance, or in your motion?
Following state law,
Don't they already have to follow state law, even if it's not in our ordinance?
I believe they do, but I feel like the enforcement of it would then be granted to the city, so Brock could then go and identify the issue rather than a state figure going and addressing the issue.
well, ITD and us are the only people that have anything to say about it.
That's not true.
Because the state adopts the international sign code, same as everybody else does.
There's other stuff, like you cannot advertise a liquor by name outside any building.
Well, that's
ever.
on ITD. ITD
That's
has
not on
that
ITD.
theirs.
That's on state law enforcement, Mike.
So that'd be you
Mhm.
as a ISP?
Okay, I'll make an amendment for the state,
Follow state code.
follow state code, yes.
Beck,
I thought that was only automatically on ITD call there.
Councilwoman Garvey, are you okay
Yes.
with, sorry, are you okay with that amendment?
I feel it's a tad redundant, but you have to follow state law, and we can trust that our state troopers and whomever else come along are going to enforce it. But yeah, it's fine.
Okay. There's been a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman Stokes?
Aye.
Councilwoman Garvey?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilman McCain?
Aye.
Run down to action item number 3, deliberation decision on Planning and Zoning Commission to recommendation and findings of facts for conditional use permit allowing a drive-in establishment associated with a car wash located at City View Drive, requested by Kelly Stedman Walpert. Did I say that correct? So, council members, what do you guys want to do?
Yes, sir.
Councilman Stokes.
Can you give can Mr. Terry give us an update and synopsis on this project? And I'm also wondering if the applicant is here.
Councilman Stokes, I'll give you a brief summary and then I'll have the applicant fill in any holes. So what we have is a kind of conditional use permit for a fully automatic drive-through that's coming to Mountain Home. Our drive-in definition is very specific in its words that any services that people receive while inside a car fall into that definition. So from car washes to your typical drive-through to technically, and we have one coming, Walmart is expanding their Walmart pickup where you just drive and park your car and they put groceries in. All of that technically falls under the definition. So we are currently here for the drive-through component, which is going to be associated with the proposed car wash. And with that, I will let the applicant elaborate.
If you want me to come up here, my name is Darcy Leesburg. I'm with Brightwork Real Estate. And I can answer any questions you like.
Council members, you got any questions?
Can you
Councilman Brennan?
Can you give us like a brief synopsis in your own language of what this project looks like?
Absolutely. Basically, it's an express car wash, and the whole idea is they approach the pay station. They have, either they're members or not, they can go through the pay station, go through the car wash. They never get out of the car. They can go through the car wash. They can make a decision to back, and if they don't, they can stay in the car and just leave. So that's the whole idea.
Can you tell me about any plans that you have for recycled water usage?
Yeah, we have a reclaim system. The system will not work without that reclaim system. So we're about 67% reclaim.
So what does the average one car wash gallons use?
For wastewater, or how?
Can you break it down? Like,
yeah, so like for
fresh versus like reclaimed versus actually going into the wastewater
so
system?
Wastewater is about 17.3 gallons. And again, these are estimates too, because it's peak and there's all sorts of markets and that kind of thing. But we recycle about 50 gallons, or approximately 50 gallons. And per car, you're over about 23, because there's about 6 gallons of evaporation and just spray and mist that ends up going somewhere else.
You lost me there totally. So how many gallons of like?
So per gallon, so fresh water is about 20. Yeah, per car it's about 23 gallons, and then wastewater coming out is about 17. We have about 6 gallons that are wasted in evaporation and mist and things that are going. Reclaim, we're using about 50 gallons, approximately 50 gallons.
50 gallons per car?
Yes.
How many gallons total does it take to wash a car? Like of just water into?
I'd have to take and do the math of the 15, the 17, 6. That's the math there.
Okay.
73 gallons.
It's a ton of water per car. 73? You did it?
I think that's pretty close to what it is, 73, something like that. Right around there, but they're getting 50-gallon recycle.
Right. So we're about 67%, like I said, on recycle.
Mr. Mayor. And Paul, I'll just have you on standby to make sure that what I'm saying is correct. So I was surprised.
Probably not.
I was surprised.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I was surprised to see that the car wash use was not a conditional use for the city of Mountain Home. Other municipalities I have seen it has been. The issue, and we were able to speak with this over with Mr. Schroeder when he was here, is that the conditional use permit is for the drive-through portion. So when it came to making conditions for this proposed development, they really had to be tied to that nexus of stacking and making sure things don't go in right away. It may be a good idea in the future, given that we are in a desert, that this is a use that we want to be hyper aware of, that we have it as a conditional use where we can make conditions on water usage and what that looks like. Not that I don't want more car washes to be here, because I do. I just know that water is a complex issue. But know that if the drive-through component wasn't there, if it was just a normal one like we have at the airport where someone gets out of their car and does it, it would be an outright permitted use. It would never come to us. We wouldn't be able to implement any additional standards from water collection or best practices. It wouldn't be part of a hearing. So know that that's what makes this situation unique, and if directed by this body, it may not be a bad idea to make car washes a conditional use in the future.
I think this is a ride-through, not a drive-through, because you just put a car in neutral and go.
You'll be surprised how many people go left and right in those things.
I will definitely agree with that it does need to be, because the drive-through to me this is not the classification that was set up for a drive-through when it was originally set up. This was not for a drive-through car wash.
Council members, what do you guys want to do? Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Brennan?
I'd make a motion to approve the conditional use permit for the drive-through on City View Drive.
Second.
I've got a motion, I got a second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Stokes?
Yeah, 70 gallons sounds like a lot, and I know it is a lot, but then I ride around town, I see people washing their own cars with their garden hose. I bet they use 120 gallons. Sometimes they take an hour with that thing on, so this actually is probably going to be beneficial to the community.
Mayor? But there's 50 gallons that is recycled.
Yeah,
So there's
exactly.
only using 20 odd gallons.
Yep.
All righty, there's been a motion and a second. I'll call for the question. Councilwoman Garvey?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilman McCain?
Aye.
Councilman Stokes?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Went down to action item number 4, deliberation decision on Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation of findings of facts for a conditional use permit allowed drive-through located at 2400 Block American Legion Boulevard, requested by Dusty Wolston Hulme. Did I get that correct?
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman,
Can Mr. Chair give us a quick summary and then we
Yeah.
have a deliberation?
I will give a brief summary. Unfortunately, I don't know if the applicant is present at this meeting today.
Oh, there we go.
There he is. Awesome. Then I'll turn it over to the applicant. This is a other conditional use permit, which was needed because it's another drive-through facility. This time it's a drive-through facility which is associated with a financial institution. Key things that we were looking at was stacking. Is it going to bleed into right-of-way? Is there a escape lane if there are any emergencies? As you can see in the site plan that I would hope is provided within the staff report, you have multiple bays, multiple exits, and for the most part, staff didn't see any issues which are contrary to the conditions of approval for a conditional use permit. And with that, I would be more than happy to yield my time over to the applicant to elaborate and answer any other questions you may have if you would like that.
Councilman, you want him to come down?
I don't see any need.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor? I'll make the motion to approve the conditional use permit to allow drive-in, drive-through located on 2400 block of American Legion Boulevard, requested by Dusty Olsen-Hulme.
It's not my name.
All right.
That's Ian.
It's a tough last name.
No, butchered it, but
Action item number 4.
second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilman McCain?
Aye.
Councilman Stokes?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilwoman Garvey?
Aye.
All right, run down to number 5. Deliberation decision regarding the Rock Church appeal for temporary modular building request by Andrew Bailey. I guess this one's yours, Paul.
Yes, I was asked to look into this one, and I could just say that the request would violate our city code. I'm pulling that up. 9926 is the code provision. I believe that Brock had put it in his staff report.
Yeah.
One of the things that he asked me about after the fact is that one of the things it says is in 9926 subset D is a temporary building which is located in a commercial or industrial zone shall obtain a zoning permit which shall be issued for no longer than 6 months. And then the part that Brock had asked me about is unless otherwise expressly provided herein, which is the herein of this chapter. And what does that mean? Why was that there? Well, because if you read a little bit further down, for construction, you could have a temporary, with a conditional use permit, you could have a temporary structure for a year or more, because obviously that's a special circumstance where sometimes it takes a little bit longer to build it. So they talk about a year, they talk about in no event more than 6 months unless it's pursuant to this year provision. And the reason behind that is right there in 9-9-26, opening sentence. It says temporary uses are those uses which have the potential to create undesirable impacts on nearby properties, which cannot be determined except on a case-by-case basis. In order to prevent this, all temporary uses shall be required to meet certain procedural requirements applicable to temporary uses, i.e. 6 months, in addition to any other applicable requirements of this title, and they'll require a CUP. So basically, our code and then many other codes, we don't really want to have temporary structures, whether it be a single wide or something like that. We don't want temporary structures to be in existence very long because it creates blight, and it also is an end around just renting a true office space that are available for commercial and or residential purposes, or limited office purposes. And so we frown upon them. However, we realize they're a necessity in such situations, such as when there's construction projects or project office, garage sales, personal property type sales, and limited real estate sales office. For example, when a subdivision is being built or something like that, you might have a temporary structure for a while that's there to help market and sell those lots and or have open houses and stuff. So the point of it is that it's a temporary in nature. And so I have reviewed the Planning and Development Services decision, and I agree with the decision. The appellant, the applicant, certainly had a right to appeal Brock's decision, but I agree with it, and I actually came up with a couple other things in there. So I do not see how this could be granted for, I think the request was for 3 to 5 years to have a temporary structure. I think that would run afoul of the purpose behind our ordinance.
Copy that. So the perfect case in point would have been Google building downtown for a year.
Exactly.
Sorry, go ahead,
No,
Councilman.
I was just going to state that the building code that we've adopted also classifies a temporary building as 6 months.
Mayor?
Councilman Brennan.
Paul, does this that you're talking about include residential stuff or strictly commercial?
It's talking about commercial in the or an industrial. But I could tell you that if you take up, and then Mike probably knows this better than I do, but if you take up the building code and the residential code, it's going to be applicable to residential areas as well. For example, it's a residential lot, perhaps, in a subdivision, and yet you'll have this commercial purpose for a limited basis to market those lots and do open houses and stuff like that. But Yes, no, this is directly talking about in commercial zones, but it would be the same in a residential zone pursuant to the building code.
So like single wide trailers that are not on permanent foundations, is that the same thing?
No, that's not temporary at all. That's when somebody is trying to live in that, and then we prohibit that under a separate provision.
Okay, so it is different. Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry, if that was your question, yes, those are two different things.
Okay.
All right, council members, what do you guys want to do?
Mayor?
Councilman McCain.
I'll make a motion to not approve the appeal for the temporary modular building requested by Andrew Bailey.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion?
Mayor,
Councilman Brennan?
Did Pastor Bailey actually give a written appeal of the decision? Because I don't have that.
A written
before me.
appeal? Unfortunately, we never received the written one. He did submit an application.
Right.
And part of the application was the narrative, and we didn't end up getting one.
It's purely
Other than
academic,
what-
but
other than
I
what
noted
he
the
provided.
letter that the pastor provided, and it wouldn't, even if it was a legitimate basis to ask for it, it doesn't technically meet our code, and arguably it's also untimely, because our appellate provision provides for a 14-day turnaround from the decision of the planning and zoning administrator, and it was well after that as well. But rather than address procedural issues, I thought we'd just jump right in and address it substantively.
So you're saying ignore the fact that he hasn't requested an appeal?
No, I mean, you could say that he requested an appeal, but he didn't do it. He didn't provide the information that is required to ask for an appeal, and he also asked for it too late. So there'd be any number of reasons why this isn't timely, nor is there really anything for you to decide upon, but I decided, you know what, let's just skip through that, because the most important thing is it violates our ordinance anyway.
Mr. Mayor, if I can elaborate, because I see the confusion. So he submitted an application to appeal, but part of your application submittal is to provide a detailed narrative saying this is why I'm appealing.
Okay.
That was what was included.
Application check.
Okay,
Written
so-
letter, no.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so then that motion can stand that way then.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. Any further deliberation? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilwoman Garvey?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilman Stokes?
Aye.
Councilman McCain?
Aye.
All right. All right. Number 6, deliberation on creating an ordinance that addresses compression release engine brakes, specifically semi-trucks. And I believe the gentleman might be here. They want to talk about it or no?
Oh, I can.
Come on down. Come on, Mark.
For sure. I'm no expert on compression brakes. I'm sure everybody in this room's heard them.
Oh, yeah.
No, the reason I asked the question, Mayor, City Council, I'm Mark Sarwell, 845 Garrett Street. Just where I live, behind A to Z on that field, I'm pretty sure it's up there at Highway 51 and Air Base Road is where the trucks, whatever they are, semi-trucks are, with cattle or hay or whatever, they're just using their compression brakes and it's flat as a pancake. I mean, I see no reason for it, but it's around the city. You guys have all heard it. If you've heard of Jake brakes or engine brakes, compression brakes, all the same thing. Most all cities of our size and bigger already have this ordinance. I'm just surprised that we don't. I don't know that it would be any kind of an expense to the city, with the exception of maybe some signage. I don't even know if we could put signage up where we would need it, like on Air Base Road, which is a state highway. I don't know how that works, but I think at the major intersections coming into the city, we could just put some signage up and prohibit it. It's loud, it's obnoxious, and there's really absolutely no need for it.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Stokes?
I'd agree with Mr. Sauerwald. There's a lot of cities, municipalities you drive through, and it says right there, as you enter town, don't use Jake brakes or compression brakes.
Yep.
I didn't like the language on specifically semi-trucks, though. A lot of these ordinances are based on the gross vehicular weight, which is fine. Over 10,000 pounds is pretty standard. just so we're not hitting the truckers, because not fair.
Mayor, I would go down to as low as 3/4 ton, because I've got a 3/4 ton Dodge that has exhaust brakes, and it sounds just exactly like it. But it does great for my trailer when you're coming down a hill.
Well, like you said.
Right, you're flat here. I can understand what you're saying.
There's no need for it, and I personally, I think there's no difference of having to hear that than like the bikers going underneath the railroad overcrossing. It's the exact same thing. I mean, there's absolutely zero need for it. The City of Twin Falls has a quick, down and dirty, one paragraph, about 4-sentence code that covers it. It's 9920, I believe. Super simple. You're welcome. But that's my 2 cents.
Mr. Mayor? I would be okay moving forward with using language from Twin Falls, maybe drafted by Brock and approved by legal. I'm okay with that.
Mr. Mayor?
Is that a motion or what?
No.
It's just
Deliberation.
Deliberation.
Creating the
Okay.
ordinance, we'll have to bring it back.
Yeah.
See if it passes the smell test.
Just a point of clarification, and I'm happy to work with Mr. Sauerwald. We have had a working relationship before, and he is very tolerable. I'm very happy to. I just wanted to verify. So you would like this to be an ordinance change, which is initiated by the city. So it would be the city doing the zoning title amendment. It wouldn't be Mr. Sauerwald as a private party.
Right. Yeah. No.
Thank you.
City.
That's the only clarification.
Cool.
Thank
So,
you.
really quick, council member, so I'm hearing yes. Councilman?
Yeah. I agree. I see the signs everywhere. I'm the highway guy, kind of, not ITD, but I see the signs always references a code number, you know. And I would like to ask Paul if he recommends, most of our city ordinances have turned to misdemeanors. So would we want this to be a misdemeanor or an infraction?
6 in one, half a dozen in another. If it's an infraction, it's a standard fine. It can't be raised or lowered by the court, and you only get a court trial if you want to fight it. Whereas if we turn it into a misdemeanor, it's still the judge is going to probably order the identical fine, but then I might be stuck or Jeff might be stuck going to a jury trial on the darn thing. Do we care about it being a misdemeanor, or is it something that, I guess here's the question back. Is this something that the truck drivers will say that's the cost of doing business? I don't mind doing that at all. I'm going to keep right on coming through your town, and I don't care that it's against the law. If I get caught, fine, I'll go pay the infraction, so be it. So is it something that we want to have as a misdemeanor to truly get their attention and have probation, or is this something that people are going to get that ticket and go, okay, and it'll cure people from trying to do it?
I'm following.
What's your gut tell you?
Could I ask the expert in the room, the lieutenant, and how would you like it enforced if it's approved, with an infraction or a misdemeanor?
I think it's easier for infraction.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I would agree too. Like the right to a jury trial over something like this seems a little excessive, and letting a judge make that decision is probably. Thank you for your
This is
input.
always, Mayor,
Councilman?
this is always a route we can go, and then if it turns into a problem that it's continuing, and we know there's a few of them that are just doing it because they don't care, then fine, then look at changing it.
Sure. Okay.
But I agree, I think an infraction's best.
Councilwoman Garvey, are you fine going forward with this as well?
Yes, and I think the infraction is a good start. We've never had this ordinance, we've never had these signs, so I just would like to hope that everybody will abide by them without going to jury trial over a Jake break.
I will.
Okay. So council members, I'm hearing we're gonna go forward then? All good?
Yep.
Okay.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
We'll be talking.
All right, we'll run down to recognize the person in the audience. Please limit your comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. Would anybody like to get up and speak? Come on down.
What's the 3/4 ton truck weigh? 7,500 pounds?
I don't know for positive how much it weighs. Been a long time since I weighed it. I weighed it a long time ago.
First one is I have a question. On the sewer and water that all the people with the trailers at the trailer park, the RV park, and everywhere else fill up over here, does the city charge for that?
No, the dump station over here?
Yeah.
No.
So the sewer to dump it is free and the water is free. So I'm a little confused here. We're catering to people that from out of town can use the stuff for free, but you guys want to charge people that already pay taxes here in Mountain Home to use Railroad Park to sell their stuff. Is that what I'm getting here?
We're not charging anybody to,
Okay, but you did lease it to Bev, right?
no, we did not lease it.
You didn't lease it to
Just
her.
park rental. She reserved the park and paid the reservation.
Okay, and did you check to see if she has a 501(c) for collecting people's money? Because she doesn't, so it is illegal. Also, the farmer's market is not registered with the SOS, Secretary of State. Usually at the farmer's market, this is one from Twin Falls that I did, you have to have a tax ID number and a seller's permit. At the end of the day, you have to fill this out, it goes to the Secretary of State. Same thing with Eagle, same thing with Boise. So how is a person without a 501(c)(3) collecting people's money? She's not registered with the IRS. She doesn't have a 501(c). So therefore, it is illegal, what she's doing. And you are all allowing her to do that because you did not check on her qualifications. So, but here's some information you could see. Boise Farmers Market, nonprofit, Eagles. Eagles is actually online. You could go to their page and find out all the information, but she's not registered with the state, so legally she can't take anybody's money. So, thank you.
Have a good day.
Could I address her?
Yeah, go ahead.
Would you remind me of your name? I'm sorry.
Suzette.
Suzette. Do you have the code you could provide me? You're saying what she's doing is illegal. Could you tell me what code she's violating?
The Idaho tax code through the Idaho Tax Commission. Just like here, I sell at the Eagles Farmers Market. When I'm done at the end of the day and go home, I fill out the market spreadsheet through Eagle, okay? You have to list how much cash you took, how much checks, how much credit. That goes to the state. At the end of the year, Eagle puts up the annual report on how much the market made because the city runs it.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Just real quick. What you're saying is basically the Idaho IRS Tax Commission requires it, right? The city doesn't require it. We're just giving
Yes,
a park reservation.
there is-
So the law that she's breaking should be addressed
Yes.
by the tax commission.
Yes, she has to actually file. Like I have a seller's permit and a tax ID number. She does not have one for the farmer's market. She's not listed with the Secretary of State. All the farmer's market from Eagle to Nampa to Kuna to Twin Falls, all is listed with the Secretary of State. This farmer's market is not. So therefore it's illegal. She's not following the steps. Then she's
can I
collecting
chime in?
people's money. Huh?
Go ahead, Ms. Carvey.
Mayor,
Councilwoman.
can I chime in for a minute?
You bet.
So I think it's important to note, Suzette, that she's not running an illegal business. She may not be a 501(c)(3). However, that does not mean that she's not paying taxes, and just because she doesn't have a tax ID number doesn't mean that she's not running taxes through. And I'm with Daniel, Councilman Brennan on that. Like, I want to know exactly which code you feel she's violating.
I can give you the
and
code.
honestly, at the end of the day, I'm sorry, hold on, I'm not done yet, please. At the end of the day, why is Bev being targeted for running this farmer's market? If you feel she's not doing it right, ask her.
No, I am not targeting anybody. And I have asked her many years ago when she leased part of it. And she was charging, and I said, because I was going to come down here and sell. And I asked her specifically, I said, well, do you have a 501(c)(3)? And she said, no. And I said, well, How do I know the money I give you, where is it going? And she says, well, we give it to the school for uniforms and we give it to the firefighters. Okay, doesn't our taxes already pay enough for that? Number one, when you're collecting, she's collecting money from other people. Okay? You cannot do that legally without a 501c3. Period.
Yeah, it's business.
Bring us the code, Suzette. I'll look into it.
Yeah, please, bring us codes.
And if you can call and talk to them in Eagle, you can call them and talk to them in Twin Falls. Number one, this farmer's market is not even registered with the state. You can't have a business without being registered with the state, period. It's against the law.
That's not exactly true, but okay.
If you make more than 2 sales anywhere, selling hay or whatever, you have to claim it with the state. State law.
Okay, thanks, Suzette.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to get up? Come on down.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Brendan McCarthy, 890 East 14th North. I would first like to start out, I hate to just point out one department, because I know all of our heads of departments and everything do a great here, but thank you, Shasta, for everything that you do. The summer reading event was amazing, especially the end with the, splash and the water and everything like that, so really, really nicely done. I'm not here to complain. I know this is going to be kind of a sensitive issue. I'm just here to kind of maybe see if this is something the council and the city have thought. I know the pool has kind of been, going back and everything with dates and getting a contractor and the cost and that. I just wanted to see if maybe Parks and Recs, and I was hoping Darcy was here, I could talk to her, but if Parks and Rec is maybe kind of thinking of taking that idea and kind of keeping that going. I know they're doing the traveling playground right now till the 29th, I believe. But just kind of giving that access of, something, for water cooling off for the kids and everything. We're looking at the weather this week and 100-degree weather, for good 5, 6, 7 days. And so, again, not to complain, not trying to bring up the city pool, but just want to see if that, if we can kind of continue that. I know Parks and Recs is doing the 2 trips down to Glens Ferry, free of cost and everything like that. But just to try and keep those events going and just giving as many opportunities as we can for, kids and local around here. So, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Would anybody else like to get up? All right, hearing none. Council, anything else? Hearing not? And we'll adjourn. Good.
We did begin signing out, Paula.
Hey, Brendan,
Are you good? I'm just signing out.
2 more? Or 3 more?
Thank you.
You have